The sound of the front door clicking shut used to soothe me to sleep. Lately, though, that same sound carried a bitter edge. I lay still, pretending to sleep, my back facing the door and my fists curled tight beneath the covers. A scent drifted in, sandalwood mixed with citrus, foreign, unmistakably male. It hovered in the air, exposing a truth I'd suspected but hadn't yet confronted. I heard her steps softly crossing the wooden floor. Every creak, once comforting, now sliced through me. The change in her had been gradual. Less eye contact. More time staring at her phone. A disconnect that grew between us like a wall I hadn't seen being built. At first, I blamed work, her intense schedule, those tight marketing deadlines. But the excuses multiplied. Late nights. Murmured calls. Unexplained absences. Tonight followed the same worn routine. The gentle thud of her heels coming off. The swish of fabric as she removed her dress. Her weary sigh as she slid into bed beside me. I waited, listening as her breathing slowed. Then, in a voice no louder than a breeze, I asked, "Was it worth it?" The silence thickened. She froze. I could feel her body stiffen in response. Slowly, she turned toward me. The streetlight leaking through the blinds lit her face, a pale, frightened mask. Her lips parted. "David, she whispered. That name hit me like a knife. David. Her colleague. The man she worked late with. I didn't need to hear more. I already knew. "Don't," I said. My voice was flat, stripped of all emotion. "Don't lie." And then she cried. Desperate, shaking tears. Words spilled from her, apologies, excuses, promises. I let her talk. I'd imagined this moment, played it out in my head 1,000 different ways. But now that it was real, I felt none of the chaos I expected. No rage. No begging. Just cold, undeniable clarity. Her betrayal was beyond repair. The next morning, I acted like nothing had happened. I made her coffee, kissed her cheek, and left for work. But I didn't go to the office. Instead, I contacted a private investigator, recommended by a friend. He worked quickly and quietly. Within days, I had everything. Photographs, videos, call logs, dates, locations. Proof of the affair. Far more than I'd even asked for. The man she chose wasn't just some stranger. David knew who I was. He'd seen our photos on her desk. He'd shaken my hand at company events. He knew she was married. And still he pursued her. That made him just as culpable. Just as deserving of what came next. David had a spotless public image, polished, professional, admired. That image became my weapon. I assembled everything I had, every compromising image, every text, every recording, and sent anonymous packages. One to his boss. One to his wife. One to his parents. Even his church. I left no room for denial. Within days, his perfect life collapsed. He was fired. His wife left him. His reputation was obliterated. Friends vanished. Colleagues distanced themselves. He became a cautionary tale in his own community. Everything he'd built, gone in a flash. Clara wasn't spared either. Word of David's scandal raced through her office like wildfire. Where she once received admiration, now she got pity. Or worse, mockery. Her name became part of whispered gossip. I finally showed her the evidence, confronting her without so much as a raised voice. She didn't deny it. She confessed, begged for another chance, claimed it was a mistake. But it was too late. The foundation of our relationship had been obliterated. No apology could rebuild what she had chosen to destroy. I filed for divorce. Within a few months, it was finalized. My goal had never been revenge for revenge's sake. It was about taking back control. About ensuring they knew the consequences of their selfishness. I didn't feel joy in watching their lives unravel. But I did feel closure. I found peace in knowing I hadn't let their betrayal define me. Healing wasn't quick. There were nights I couldn't sleep, mornings filled with foggy emptiness. But slowly, I began to rebuild. I sold our house, cut ties with the past, and redirected my focus. My career flourished. Friendships deepened. I rediscovered the parts of myself I'd let fade in the shadows of a failing marriage. The pain left its mark. But the scars didn't weaken me. They reminded me of my strength. Of the storm I endured and survived. One day, I saw her again. Clara. In a quiet cafe downtown. Her hair was unkempt, her eyes tired. She looked hollow. For a moment, our eyes met. She looked away quickly, a flicker of shame in her expression. I offered a nod, nothing more. No words. No confrontation. And then I turned and walked away. I didn't feel hate. I didn't feel sorrow. I felt absolutely nothing. And that, I realized, was my real victory. Not the emails. Not the photos. Not the unraveling of their carefully hidden affair. But the emptiness. The calm. The power of no longer caring. I had survived the worst of it. And I had come out the other side whole. Strong. Free.